So a client of mine is trying to decide whether he should go ahead and build a stick-built home, which is a traditional built home, or should he decide to go with manufactured modular construction. So what are the big differences between stick-built and modular manufactured construction? Well, today we're going to be going over both of those, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how he weighed out the both options, and I'll be telling you exactly which one he picked at the end.
Well, here's an interesting statistic. While the rate of new construction has decreased over the years, the rate of manufactured homes has increased, with over 22 million Americans living in some type of manufactured home product. That's including modular and manufactured homes.
So let me first explain when you hear the words manufactured home, because modular homes are also a manufactured type of home. They're made in a manufacturing plant, but they're not a manufactured home. A manufactured home is something you see that looks like this, and they're built to HUD specifications. And usually they sit on a chassis and they remove the tongue and axle and they're affixed in that spot. Sometimes they can be attached to a slab, but in most cases they just put some skirting around it and it's this specific type of home. But when you look at a modular home, this is what a modular home looks like. And they're made in the factory and then they're arranged on the site and put together, kind of like pieces of Legos. So even though each of those products are identical in the fact that they're made in a factory, but they're not identical to the way that they're built once they get to the site. Kind of think of it like this. If the house comes in 2 sections or 3 sections, that's probably a manufactured home. But if the home comes in several different pieces and it's going to take more than a couple days to put together, that's most likely a modular home. So let's get back to my client. John owns a piece of land that he's had for quite some time, and he wants to go ahead and develop it because him and his wife have gotten married and they have their new baby and they're ready to build a home. The first thing I told him to do before he made that decision was that he needed to find out what kind of zoning was in his area in order for him to build the house that he wanted. I ended up connecting him with a home builder, and I connected him with a local modular home company. Every piece of land that you buy is going to have different types of restrictions, and it may be zoned differently. So you're going to want to make sure that it's zoned residential, and you're going to want to see what kind of construction they allow for. Some areas will not allow for modular homes because they consider them manufactured homes because they don't realize the difference. A modular home is a stick-built home. It just so happens that most of the pieces are made in a factory and they're assembled on site. And for some reason, most of these lawmakers haven't got on board yet. They haven't figured it out. It's the same thing as a regular house. So once we got that out of the way, John knew that he could either build a regular stick-built home or he could build a modular home. The only requirement is that it had to be over 2,000 square feet. And that's when the fun began.
In the United States, there's over 129 manufactured home plants, with Texas having 22 manufacturing home plants. This number is expected to grow throughout the next 10 years.
So my client John was using 3 factors in order to decide whether he wanted to build a modular or a stick-built home. The first one was how long was it going to take to build? The second thing was how energy efficient each of the homes were. And lastly, of course, how much is it going to cost? Was it going to cost him less to hire a contractor to build it, or would it cost him less for modular? This one might surprise you too. I was a little shocked. All right, let's get into factor 1. What is the typical amount of time that it's going to take for a traditional home builder to build a house? Well, typically it's about 4 to 5 months. But with current conditions the way that they are, homes are taking a lot longer than normal.
Now look, lumber prices could be at a new record high by the end of the week. Framing lumber is right around $945 right now.
As you know, there's been a crippling building supply shortage throughout the United States, whether it be lumber, roofing materials, nails, you name it, everything's been slowed down. So you can probably add another 6 weeks to that typical build time. And that's if weather permitting, because that always adds a little bit of extra time to any home build. Now let's compare that to a modular construction. So when John went over there to talk to the modular home company, they told him it would take them about 90 to 120 days. But they also said because of the building supply problems that you could add another additional 6 weeks to that as a typical amount of time. Now that build time is substantially less time, so that did make John very happy. But that wasn't necessarily the factor that was going to either make him say yes to stick-built or modular construction.
A little known fact about all modular homes is that they are more green than traditional site-built homes, due to the nature of the factory construction process. Many manufacturers specialize in green modular homes and evaluate environmental impacts throughout their design process in order to minimize the impact.
Now let's look at the energy efficiency, because that was very important to him. So he did meet with the builder and he specified exactly what kind of R rating he wanted in the walls. He wanted a specific radiant barrier in the attic, and he also wanted to make sure that he was going to be getting a tankless water heater. Now once he spoke to the builder and told him everything he wanted to add add to it to make it more energy efficient that did increase the amount that the house was going to cost, which didn't bother John, but he wanted to go ahead and compare that to modular construction. Now, when John spoke to the modular home company, he told them exactly what he wanted as well. And all of those energy efficient upgrades were already included into the modular home price, with the exception of the tankless hot water heater. And if you didn't know, most modular homes are built to a higher energy efficiency standard than most traditional stick-built homes. He had heard me say that before, but he was pleasantly surprised to find out that I was right. Now let's get into the big factor. How much does this all cost? Now, because John wanted the upgrades to the traditional stick-built home, the builder did inform him that it was going to cost him a little bit extra, which he was fine with. So the total cost for his build was going to cost him $366,900. Now, with the modular construction, that was going to cost him $371,300. So it was slightly more than it would have been for a traditional built home. Now, I want you to understand that with that modular home, it wasn't just the house. It actually came with everything, including the driveway and a little bit of landscaping. It would have been just the same as getting the traditional stick-built home. So which one did John choose? Was it going to be the one that was a little less expensive, but a longer build time? Or was it the modular home that was going to be less build time, but cost a little bit more? Put your guess in the comment section before I tell you. I'm waiting. He chose modular. I know, I bet you already knew that. And why did he choose modular? Because of time, and time is money. He didn't want to wait all that extra time to have his home built. So John is already on his way to putting in a modular house, and they're prepping the land now, and I'm very excited for him and his family. So John's very smart. He is an engineer, and he knew how to run the numbers. So if you're planning on building any home, whether it's a manufactured home, whether it's a modular home, or just a traditional stick-built home, make sure you run your numbers first. The second thing I want you to do is check to make sure that the builder that's building your home is a reputable builder. As for any kind of reviews of that specific builder, always look on the internet, check the old social medias, and see what people are saying about that specific builder or the manufacturer that's making your home. The third thing you should really consider is how much is this house going to resell for? Think of that as far as the future is concerned, because you never know when you're going to have to sell. People all the time will say, I never plan on leaving, and then sure enough, they get a job somewhere that's paying them twice as much, and they're like, I have to sell. And then they made the house specifically for them, and it makes it harder for you to sell. Now, of course, it doesn't make it hard to sell in this market, but you never know what the future is going to hold as far as the housing market is concerned. So sometimes you're going to have to build for the masses. Now, if you plan on living there till the day you die, build it exactly the way you want to. Now, one of the smartest things when John was picking out his house, in my opinion, was how energy efficient he was going to keep the house. He wanted that very high energy rating. And most people and most home buyers are looking for that right now. And I can't see that changing in the future. So when you're building something, even though it may be less expensive, you want to keep that energy efficiency in mind. But right here in Louisiana, some attics do not have that radiant barrier. And many home buyers will go up in the attic and see that it doesn't have a radiant barrier in the attic, and they're out of there. They want to make sure that they're going to have those electricity bills very low. And every area is going to have something specific to it that wants that energy rating. Like up north, they want heated floors because that keeps their energy bills down. That's not something we have here. So see what's customary for your specific area to keep that energy efficiency up, especially when you're building brand new. And another thing, when you are having your house built, go to that site all the time, as much time as you can. Every day the builders leave your property, go take a look and make sure everything is up to snuff. Whether you're building modular or traditional stick built, you want to make sure that everything looks right. And you can have a home inspector come in at certain stages of the building process, because if you know nothing about building, it's good to have a home inspector in your pocket. And speaking of home inspectors, now the county is going to inspect your house to make sure it meets city guidelines or town guidelines. You're also going to have one that you want to inspect it at the end of the construction period, because they're going to be checking all the GFCIs. They're going to be making sure that everything is up to snuff. I know it seems like one more freaking cost to get their appraisers and everything else, but trust me, that's the best money well spent. And also, when you're doing your research, you may want to freshen up on what exactly your state new home warranty act has. Like the state of Louisiana has a new home warranty act. I'm pretty sure every state does, but refresh yourself what your state's new home warranty act covers. For instance, in most areas, they'll give you a length of time that your foundation is warranted. They give you a length of time that your roof is warranted, and they'll give you a length of time of how long the actual interior problems are warranted. In Louisiana, it's only a year. So you may want to check that out. So that way, if there's any issues after the home is built, that you know exactly what to do and who you need to contact during that time, because you don't want that time frame to lapse and then you didn't get the things that needed to be fixed or repaired before the time period was over with, and then it comes out of your own pocket. Now, John is really excited for his new home, and I am too. And when it gets started, he said that I will be allowed to go over there and film. So when it gets done, I will keep you updated. If you'd like to watch some more videos about the differences in different types of construction, you can watch this video right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.